In this video, we're going to practice creating more dimensions and learn how to add symbols. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is to open up the Dim Edit Student 2018 file, and you'll have this drawing. There won't be any dimensions on it. So notice that in the Annotate tab, there's already been an ASME style dimension created and an ASME style multi-leader created. Alright, so make sure those two are active. Alright, so back in the Home tab, make sure that you're on the dimension layer. And we're going to start dimensioning. Alright, so there's a figure in the book, step number 2, that shows all the dimensions that I want you to create initially. So we'll go back to the Annotate tab and do a bunch of the linear dimensions first. We'll start out here in the top view. I'm going to turn my snap on and just start going from left to right. I'm hitting the space bar to repeat the last command. Alright, so those are all the linear dimensions. And now I'm going to put some of the diameter dimensions in. I'm going to pan down so that we can get them up on the top. So I'll do diameter, and I'm going to dimension this one here and this guy here. And then we need a leader, and we'll go from the midpoint of the chamfer, and this will be a chamfer that has 4 different chamfers. You see out around the corners there's 4 of them, so 4 no space X, which means 4 times, and then a 0.12 space by 0.12. So remember, when you're doing number of places, there's no space between the X, and when you're doing a chamfer, there's a space between the X. So that tells the reader of the drawing the difference between number of places and if it's a chamfer dimension. And also, we're in an inch drawing, so there is no leading 0. So that's why it's not 0.12, it's just 0.12. Alright, so we have our basic set of dimensions. The first edit that we're going to do to make this look better, because we're not set with the dimensions the way they are, they're not proper. The first edit we're going to do is to place these text values between the extension lines. So we're going to type dim tick, and we're going to turn that on, and then we're going to update just those dimensions that we want to force the text between the extension lines. And then we're going to turn the dim tick off again so that if we place any more dimensions, that won't affect those dimensions. All right, so that looks much better, right? All right, so the next thing is this cylinder dimension, right? We place the diameter of a cylinder in the rectangular view so that it doesn't get confused with a hole. So if you look at the top view, right, if you look at this and you look at this and don't pay any attention to the front view, you don't know whether it's a hole or a cylinder, right? So if I'm saying, well, this is a 1/2 inch, right, I know that this is a hole because I'm dimensioning it in the circular view. But this one has no dimension, so it forces my eye to go down here and look at the rectangular view. So it forces me to look at the fact that it's a cylinder. That's why we dimension a cylinder's diameter in the rectangular view. But they don't, AutoCAD doesn't know, right? It just looks at it as a linear dimension. So we need to put a diameter symbol in front of that. All right, so we're going to do DD edit. And we're going to select this. And you'll notice a text editor comes up. And we're going to put our cursor in the front of that 1.00. Click on the symbols. And then select diameter. Oh, I guess I didn't put my cursor in the front, so I'm going to cancel that. Come on. No, don't save it. So select that. Make sure my cursor's in the front. And then diameter. There we go. Did it this time. And then close the editor. And there we go. The next edit we're going to make is to the chamfer dimension. So we're already in the DD edit command, so we're going to select on that. And we're going to get rid of the last 0.12 and we're going to put 45. So instead of 0.12 by 0.12, we're going to go 0.12 by 45 degrees. But we need a degree symbol. So again, we're going to go here and degrees. And then close the editor. So there's your degree symbol. And then this diameter 0.50, there's 2 holes, right? So we need to select that and put 2 by space in front of it. Close the editor. And the last thing we need to edit is this countersink. So you see that it's a countersink hole. So we need to put information about the countersink. So we're going to edit that. All right, so the first thing that we need to put in a countersink dimension is the diameter of the drill. So we need to put the diameter symbol, and the size of the drill in this case is 0.56. We'll hit the enter. So that's the diameter of the drill. And now we need to indicate the countersink. And the countersink symbol, we need to get into the GD&T font. And W will be the countersink symbol. So we'll type a W, highlight it, and then get into the GD&T font. So I'm going to hit G so that we get down to the G's and find GDT. So that's the countersink symbol, and the diameter of the countersink is 1.06. And get the cursor to the end space x space 82 degrees. And then we want to justify this. So highlight everything. And we want to make it so that it's justified to the right. So justify to middle right. There we go. And we'll close the editor. All right, so let's see how our dimensions all look. Now let's get out of the text editor. They all look pretty good. So that's how you edit your dimensions. You put in symbols. The GD&T font has several different symbols that you can put in for counterbore, depth, all of that. You can play around with those symbols. AutoCAD has predefined symbols that you can put in for, you know, diameter and degrees that we used. So there are several things that you can do to change your dimension text by using the ddedit command. All right, so I hope this was useful.